they start to build a confidence since that. But if they feel in the first contact, in the first round, but that they can control you, that it's very competitive, they head goes down.
Gaither claimed that Paddy is using steroids, saying he has evidence, but that he won't show anything until after the fight. He insisted that he wants to beat Paddy even with those alleged advantages, just to prove how overrated he believes Paddy truly is.
Do you feel like, because I think the odds are in favor of Paddy, like, do you feel like you're going to play spoiler, or do you feel like, hey, they're looking at this whole thing wrong right now?
Oh, no, I love being the underdog. I think I've been the underdog. So out of the 12 fights, I think I've been an underdog like 8 or 9 times, you know, because I'm always fighting such tough competition. But yeah, absolutely. I'm going to do the same thing I did with Tony Ferguson and Khabib. I'm going to fuck this whole thing up, and then I'm going to fight Ilya.
Gaither just revealed the ending before the fight even starts. And trust me, once you hear what he said, you'll want to stay until the very last second to understand how this entire division is about to be flipped on its head. I know it's been a lot of fun, but the moment that interview dropped, everything changed, because Gaither fired a warning shot straight across Paddy Pimblett's path, and the whole room felt it shift like a cage door slamming shut.
You pulled me against Paddy, because I think that he's gonna...
You think Paddy's gonna beat Justin Gage?
Easy.
Wow, really easy?
Yeah, easy.
Really easy?
Yeah.
Paddy Pimblett is a fantastic, entertaining fight. For what it is a fucking banger. It's a great fight.
Last question. Do you feel like, because I think the odds are in favor of Paddy, like, do you feel like you're going to play spoiler, or do you feel like, hey, they're looking at this whole thing wrong right now?
Oh, no, I love being the underdog. I think I've been the underdog. So out of the 12 fights, I think I've been an underdog like 8 or 9 times, you know, because I'm always fighting such tough competition. But yeah, absolutely. I'm going to do the same thing I did with Tony Ferguson and Khabib. I'm going to fuck this whole thing up.
One sharp change in his tone was enough to make this matchup feel real. And if you think Paddy understands the storm he's walking into, wait until you hear what Gaither said next, because this is where the storyline starts cracking open. He brushed off the betting talk like static he's heard 100 times before, treating the underdog label like a familiar battle scar. And right there, the pressure flipped. Suddenly, Paddy wasn't the rising star, he was the man standing in front of a fuse that's already been lit. From Rafaelia.
And I got to ask this before we go. This will be, I think you have the opportunity to become the only 2-time interim UFC champion. Yeah. But when you look at it, do you look at it as an interim title, or do you think, no, Ilya's out right now, so I consider myself the champ?
Ultimately, at the end of the day, when you have an interim championship on paper, it is everything and anything a UFC championship is pay-wise. So I'm going to get paid as challenging for a championship this fight. I'm going to get paid as defending a championship when I defend it next time. And whether it's an interim or you know, undisputed, it's the same thing on paper. And so, you know, it gets me paid more, and, you know, obviously gives me a headlining spot on the biggest card of the year, you know, first Paramount show. And again, you know, I'm just so thankful that the UFC trusts me.
Gaither reminded everyone that his entire career has been built on facing killers. Then he cranked the voltage by promising to shatter this narrative just like he did against Tony Ferguson, stepping in, detonating chaos, and rewriting the script the moment the cage shuts. And trust me, keep watching, because later in this video I'll reveal the exact moment Gaither's confidence turns into something far more dangerous, a promise he made that sent shockwaves across press row.
As far as Paddy, right, he said some things about you. Like he said, you know, talking about you being on the sidelines, and I don't know if it was trash talk or whatever it was, trying to build the fight. But what do you think of Paddy? Like, do you think it's going to be cordial? Do you think there's going to be some trash talk today? Like, what's your opinion on the guy?
I mean, I think people will think it's trash talk, but it's just him being him, me being me, you know. This is an entertainment business, and he's one entertaining motherfucker. So, yeah, I mean, I wouldn't mind him adding something to the story so that people want to watch. Either way, people are going to want to watch. I'm the most consistent, most exciting guy, and this guy is on a freaking tear right now. So when that cage door locks, we're going to try to beat the shit out of each other, and I can guarantee every person in the arena will turn into an animal. And that's
He spoke calmly about the interim belt like a man who's already tasted gold, saying the strap's label changes nothing, not on paper, not on money, not on legacy. It hits the same, pays the same, and leads in the same direction, straight into a war for undisputed glory. Add in a marquee spot on one of the year's biggest cards, the first Paramount event, and Gaither made it clear this isn't some placeholder run. This is a title march with fire behind it. And he ended the thought with the one line people still can't shake, "Believe me, I'm still going to fight Ilya."
This is a crazy game, and he's going to get his chance. So, see what happens.
Last question. Do you feel like, because I think the odds are in favor of Paddy, like, do you feel like you're going to play spoiler, or do you feel like, hey, they're looking at this whole thing wrong right now?
Oh, no, I love being the underdog. I think I've been the underdog. So out of the 12 fights, I think I've been an underdog like 8 or 9 times.
And before you skip, stay locked in, because a few segments from now I reveal how Ilya responded, and his answer didn't just pour fuel on the rivalry, it threw an entire gas station on it. Then Gaither shifted into the heat of Paddy's talk, refusing to call it trash talk and instead framing it as two natural personalities colliding, Paddy loud, Gaither blunt, and reminding everyone that none of it matters once the cage locks, because he is the division's most reliable source of violence.
I'm always fighting such tough competition. But yeah, absolutely, I'm going to do the same thing I did with Tony Ferguson and Khabib. I'm going to fuck this whole thing up, and then I'm going to fight Ilya.
And I will, actually, I got to ask this before we go. This will be, I think you have the opportunity to become the only 2-time interim UFC champion.
Yeah.
But when you look at it, do you look at it as an interim title, or do you think, no, Ilya's out right now, so I consider myself the champ?
Ultimately, at the end of the day, when you have an interim championship on paper, it is everything and anything a UFC championship is pay-wise. So I'm going to get paid as challenging for a championship this fight. I'm going to get paid as defending a championship when I defend it next time. And
he acknowledged Paddy's rise, promised that the moment they square up the arena will snap into chaos mode, and delivered it with the kind of certainty only a man who lives in fire can carry. Moving further, he doubled down by refusing to dismiss the interim belt, saying that until Ilya comes back, this is the real lightweight championship. And with that single statement, he turned the entire storyline into a countdown toward violence.
I guess how far back did you know it would be Paddy? And is there any disappointment that it's not Undisputed or, Arman, who's highly ranked?
No, it's no disappointment at all. I mean, everything on paper, interim champion is the same as a champion on paper, contract-wise. And that's what we fight for. This is my job, and it's the biggest opportunity for me. I didn't know a long time before they announced the fight that it was going to be Paddy. I think they were waiting to see if Ilya was going to fight, and I think that variable was kind of unpredictable. None of us knew when he was going to fight. That's what I kept telling everybody. Like, whenever Ilya fights, I want to fight. And turns out he's going to sit down for a little bit. So Paramount, this is they need Michael Johnson versus Justin Gaethje coming out party, and Paramount UFC combining. I mean, this is the fight that everyone wants. We're going to gain massive fans for the UFC, entertainment business, and I'm the most entertaining fighter in the world. And this guy's pretty close behind me.
And stay with me, because after the expert breakdowns, I'll show you the one prediction that flipped the entire fan base into a civil war overnight. Gaither didn't flinch when asked about disappointment, saying the belt is real on paper, real in contract, and real in opportunity. He added that he had no idea it would be Paddy until right before the announcement, because Ilya's plans were still floating in limbo.
Fight.
Same question for Paddy.
Well, I was half preparing for Ilya, to be honest. I was doing little bits in training camp for Ilya. And then, like 2 days before the announcement, I got told it was Justin. But it's a privilege to share the octagon with such a legend, and it's gonna be unbelievable to get in there with him. And as he said, until Ilya comes back, this is the real belt. People call it a fake belt all they want, but until Ilya comes back into the octagon, this is the belt. Me and him are fighting for the lightweight champ.
He said he was ready for anyone, anytime. And once Ilya sat out, the path cleared. Paramount's first major UFC card, two of the most entertaining fighters in the world, and his promise of one explosive showdown that fans would never forget. Meanwhile, Paddy stayed calm and confident while discussing the matchup with Gaither, saying Justin may leave opponents battered, but he doesn't see himself becoming one of them. He's training to stay sharp, intact, and ready for whatever kind of storm Gaither tries to drag him into.
Justin Gaethje's a monster. He's a terrifying individual. In a sport that's violent, he stands out as the most violent. You watch his knockout of Edson Barboza, that motherfucker attacks people. There's a reckless abandon to his calculated wildness. He's better all the time. The question is, how much is he?
Moving on, Rogan painted Gaither as a terrifying force, highlighting the controlled chaos of the Barboza knockout, the relentless stalking, the precision in the madness, and warning that Justin keeps leveling up every fight. So the only question now is how locked in he is for Paddy. In a heated exchange with Rogan, Ilya didn't hesitate. He sees Paddy cruising past Gaither, saying Justin may be a powerhouse, but grappling is not his world. Submissions and ground IQ belong to Paddy, setting the stage for a clash where one mistake on the mat could determine everything.
But Justin Gaethje against Paddy Pimblett, me against Islam. Once I pass him, I get the title, and you put me against Paddy, because I think that he's gonna.
You think Paddy's gonna beat Justin Gaethje?
Easy.
Wow.
Easy.
Really easy?
Yeah, easy.
Really easy?
Yeah.
Wow. That's a crazy thing to say because Justin Gaethje's a fucking animal.
Yeah, but he doesn't know how to grapple, and Paddy knows.
But he's a Division I wrestler. He knows how to grapple. You don't think he knows how to grapple? He just chooses not to. He chooses to stand and
He chooses to stand and fight, Ilya said. And with that single line, he exposed the tactical rift that could determine whether this matchup ends in shock or domination. Welsh weighed in with caution, acknowledging Ilya's bold prediction but refusing to call it a blowout. He pointed out that while Paddy could secure a takedown in the later rounds, Justin's wrestling durability and raw power make him a dangerous obstacle, ending with the warning that Gaether can knock Paddy out at any moment.
Damn, what could be next for Paddy? Ilya says he thinks Paddy kills Justin Gaethje. I don't think kill him, dude. Justin Gaethje is so fucking solid. But again, 5-round fight, 2, 3, 4 rounds into the match, and Paddy does score a takedown. Now he's got maybe Justin Gaethje on his back in half guard.
That's very plausible. Justin forgets he fucking wrestles.
He definitely trains it, but you could see why Ilya thinks that a little bit. Plus, Justin Gaethje's 36, Paddy Pimblett's 30 years old. But again, you can't count Justin Gaethje out. He could knock Paddy the fuck out.
I would lean towards Justin.
Paul Stryker framed the matchup as youth versus erosion. Paddy at 30, fast, fresh, efficient. Gaether at 37, carved by car crash wars, brawls, and life-shortening shootouts. From Chandler to Poirier to the brutal Holloway finish, each battle paints him not as a granite wall, but as a weathered weapon nearing its breaking point.
Paddy is only 30 years old, the golden age for an MMA fighter, that perfect balance where physical prime overlaps with solid experience. His body recovers faster, his muscles work at maximum efficiency, and mentally he's fresh, hungry, and ready for war. Now compare that to Justin Gaethje, who's 37, and we're not talking about a 37-letny point fighter who dances around and wins on points. We're talking about a man whose entire career is built on car crash wars, brawls, and life-shortening shootouts. Every one of his fights is basically an act of self-destruction. Just look at his legendary wars with Michael Chandler and Dustin Poirier. Those fights took real years off his life, and we're not even getting into the brutal loss to Max Holloway, which everyone still remembers way too clearly. Even at his absolute peak, Gaethje couldn't get past Khabib or Charles Oliveira. Both of them dominated him and finished him decisively. Paddy, on the other hand, is the new wave. At this point, Gaethje is not a fresh granite wall in front of him. He's more like a rock that's been eaten away by time, damage, and erosion, and is finally.
However, Michael Chiesa stepped back to look at the bigger picture, saying the winner of Paddy vs. Gaether won't hold the interim belt for long. No defenses, no delays, their next destination is Ilia Topuria himself. With everything on the line, this matchup has the power to reshape the lightweight division in a single violent moment. Paddy Pimblett and Justin Gaether are battling for the interim title, and whoever wins will go straight forward to face Ilia. Chiesa believes there will be no interim title defense. If he had to guess, if he had to bet, the winner's very next fight is Ilia. Clear movement, clear direction at 155 pounds. He feels for Arman Tsarukyan, but this fight is going to be insane. So now I throw it to you, will Paddy outgrapple and survive the storm, or will Gaether's pressure and power reduce the entire division to rubble? Drop your predictions below and hit subscribe so you don't miss the next breakdown, because the real chaos hasn't even started.
Paddy Pimblett, Justin Gaethje fighting for the interim title. Whoever wins that fight will move on to fight Ilia. And I don't think that there will be a title defense for the interim title. If I was to guess, if I was to bet, there will be no title defense of the interim title. I think that the next fight for whoever wins between Paddy and Justin, I think their next fight will be Ilia Topuria. So do not think they will defend the interim title. So good movement and clarity at 155 pounds. I feel for Arman Tsarukyan, but this fight's